Hi, it's Pastor Paul L. Anderson here at the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, where we believe God's blessings never stop flowing. It is Fantastic Friday. Can you believe it's also New Year's Eve? This is the last day in this year. God has been so good to us. God has kept us in the midst of it all. I think in this past year, we have seen it from the highest heights to the lowest lows. And I am of the full persuasion that God has been with us like He promised He would be. He said He would never leave us nor forsake us in the midst of all of our peaks, our valleys, our mountains, and even in the low areas. God has been a great God, and I just can't help but pause to tell Him thank you for all that He has done and is doing in our lives. I hope that you will do something throughout this day to begin to reflect about last year and to ask yourself, what do I need to do going forward? You know, it's always important for us to be able to see where we're going. You know, the Bible talks about vision, and if there's no vision, people will perish. Our text on today tells us how we get vision, and that is by walking in the light. In our text on today, in John's Gospel, the 8th chapter, verses 12 through 19 from the New Living Translation, Jesus begins to share something with His disciples as John records it about the importance of knowing that Jesus is the light. You know, too oftentimes we forget that He is the light of the world. I remember as a child, we used to sing this song, walk in the light, beautiful light, come where the dewdrops of mercy shines bright, shine all around us by day and by night, Jesus, the light of this world. When we know that Jesus is the light of the world, all of us should be inclined to follow the light. Whenever you follow the light, you'll find out that light is always illuminating on everything that it meets. But also, whenever there's light being cast, it allows us to see where the shadows really are. You know, whenever we have shadows in our lives, and that reflects wherever there's light, there's also some shadows. But the shadows does not mean there's darkness. It just means that light has not permeated that spot. It's amazing that if you would light a candle and you would put it in front of something, you can see everything on the front side. But on the back side, where there's no light, you can't see what's going on. Jesus tells us it is important for us to always make sure that we have a forward focus, that we are always walking into the light, that we're always following the light, because the things behind us, where the shadows are, it represents the past. On this day, may all of us think about the future. May we look back at our past for just a moment to let it be a lesson learned, but don't dwell on the mistakes of the past. Don't dwell on the failures of the year, but dwell on what can I do to make my life better. And the text lets us see it's by following Christ. He says to us, Jesus came that you and I might know that He is the light. We've just celebrated the most wonderful time of the year, as the song says, the birth of Christ came into this world in human form. Emmanuel, God with us in the form of a baby. We thank God how God chose Mary to be the bearer of the Christ child. And as we see within the text, it lets us get a clear understanding that Jesus is the light that has come into the world. And when we know that He is the light, He teaches us, thirdly, that we cannot be like the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the scribes who make judgments based upon human decisions and human judgment. But we have to do it from a spiritual lens. Whenever we follow Jesus, He lets us see things in the light of Him, in the light of the gospel, in the light of the love of God, in the light of the grand plan of God for all of us. You know, whenever you and I follow the light, that light will never lead us into darkness, because wherever there's light, there cannot be darkness. The text lets us see that whenever Jesus walks into the room, He brings about great light. Whenever we allow Him to walk into the room of our hearts, whenever we allow Him to walk in the room of our mind, whenever we allow Him to walk into the room of where our activities and involvements are, He shines light on the subject. You know, have you ever heard someone said, let me shine a little light on your subject? That means lighting is so important. Every photographer knows what lighting does and what it doesn't do. Every cinematographer understands what lighting does and what it doesn't do. And whenever you have a subject that is perfectly lit, you get everything that you need without any shadows. Whenever Christ permeates our life, when He becomes the light all around us by day and by night, you'll find out that He is the light of the world. And lastly, the text says, that they did not recognize Jesus as being the light because they really didn't know his Father. It's amazing how sometimes we try to get people to see who Jesus is and what he means. It's hard for that to be accomplished if a person really doesn't know who the Father is. God, our Heavenly Father, he loves us in such a way that he sent to us the light, that we no longer have to live in darkness. So we can say it's a fantastic Friday because I now have the light of the gospel of Jesus Christ that is guiding me into the days ahead, the months ahead, the years ahead, and I'm going to walk in that light. I want to remind you that you can be exceedingly and abundantly blessed if you follow that light, and that is Jesus the Christ. God bless you, and I'll see you on tomorrow.
To sow a seed to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, visit our newly redesigned website, thefountainofraleigh.org, and select Sow a Seed from the homepage. Also, giving has been made easier with the new Fountain of Raleigh app, available now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download today, select Giving from the main menu, and then follow the directions to complete your giving through Subsplash.
Thank you so very much for all of your gifts and donations that you've given to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship. We thank you for what you've done in the past, what you're currently doing, and what you will do in the future. Your gifts and donations helps us to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, not only locally, but throughout the world. Thank you again for your gifts, and may God continue to richly bless you. It is here at the Fountain that we believe that we are exceedingly and abundantly blessed, and may you receive those blessings that God has in store for you.